Okay, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 911. Cartoons should only be for me! Exclamation. And of course, he capitalized all the words except for some reason. An animation essay. That sounds fun. This is from The One Nerd, which came out in August of this year. Has almost 7,000 views from an almost 6,000 sub channel. Good for you, sir. Always nice to see the view count higher than the sub count. And you seem to have a very healthy, positive ratio. I hope this is a great video advocating for certain shows should be for certain audiences, and that's the way it should be because that's how we make art. It's kind of like you make a rom-com. It's not expected to be a science fiction drama or a space opera or a fantasy. It's just a rom-com. Let it be contemporary. Let it be the time period it's in, and let it be its own thing. That's totally fine. And you're not trying to sell to another demographic. You're not trying to sell to everyone. It's just one thing you're making for one group of people. That's totally fine. It's totally normal. So I think he's probably going to advocate for that. If he advocates for something else, that's going to be a little difficult to swallow. And he better have some good arguments. So for 21 minutes and a half, I think we're good to go. Is everyone here? Is everyone watch together?
Yes.
All right. Yep. Here we go.
Whisp.
I am fueled up, yes.
All right. Good stuff.
I have too many videos.
I still believe it's a skill issue.
It's me, the one nerd again.
I can barely hear this guy. Let me just try the other.
Oh.
Yeah, something's wrong with the volume.
One moment. It didn't even start for me at all.
Way too many videos lately. Hello, everyone. It's me.
He's really soft. I cannot crank it up any further. All right. This is it. We got to be quiet.
Me again. And today I saw another thing on Twitter that annoyed me. Well, to be fair, that's every day. But this time I saw something I felt strongly enough to make a video about. So Matt Braley, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, the creator of Amphibia, made headlines today, but not the good kind like you want. They were
Anyone seen that?
Films
Nope.
post about how Disney is pressing creatives to pitch them movies that appeal to Gen Z males. That reply,
Oh, won't somebody please think of the
Gen Z males. And certain sectors of the internet did not like that. Mostly people who just want to react to things without thinking. Now, don't get me wrong. I can understand how if someone were to look at this at a glance, they may see it as bad. On the surface, it seems like Matt is trying to bash Gen Z males or say that they don't need to be appealed to, which sure, if the only thing you know about modern cartoons is what you get from Clownfish, then you may think Western animation is dying, specifically because there are no action cartoons like there were back in the day when I was a kid, and specifically no cartoons that appeal exclusively to young males, which is not an opinion I agree with, but we'll get to.
I'm not sure there are any cartoons that appeal to anyone from the West.
Not at this point, no.
But is he referring to his youth or is he referring to today in regards to things he likes? It sounds okay. I mean, he's got the right idea that someone is defending.
Well, it's probably about his own.
Yeah,
because
I hope so.
the cartoons we had in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 2000s, they weren't just action stuff for boys. I've said this numerous times. We had, especially here in Europe, we had effectively anime commissioned by our public broadcasting stations, all of the nations their own. They commissioned Japan to make animated shows about some of their national literature. And lots of great stuff came out of that. You got an anime about Treasure Island, about 90 Days Around the World, about Maya the Bee, the Moomins, and all of those things. And the Moomins is the least action thing you could imagine. It is just pure wholesome slice of life, as is Heidi in Switzerland. So and kids like to watch these. There are several variants of the Jungle Book that were made. I forget what one of them was called. It was a really, really good one where the kid in the jungle lived with the wolves, I think that's a different one. Sorry, I'm mixing things up. I always mix these two up for some reason. He was raised by wolves and could talk with the animals. And then later on, he had a boomerang for a weapon. And later on would befriend a girl from the nearby village. And it was a really, really good show. So it's not about action things for boys. It's about everything. Because these anime, basically Western commissioned anime, they were all round good. There was something for the boys in it. There was something for the girls in it. It was just great. So that's not the issue. It's that the things that are made, especially in the past 10 years, are just indulgent for a specific niche, a subgroup of people that are not really children, but rather children who grew up physically, but not really mentally, which leads to a specific kind of humor. Oh god, I keep forgetting names at this point. What's the guy who made Adventure Time?
Oh.
I think it's C.H. Greenblatt. Let me double check.
No. The fat guy on weed.
The fat guy on weed.
The guy that created it, right?
Yeah. And
Pendleton Ward.
Pendleton Ward, exactly, yeah. And he has a specific kind of humor, and that encapsulates that. And to a degree, his humor also works. But the shows that he made, they later on fall apart. Which basically every product that he makes did that. He's kind of like Tim Schafer in cringe. And that only resonated with people in their late teens and in their 20s and 30s who were mentally still in their teens. You eventually grow out of that. It was nice in the 2010s because it was a subversion of the things that we knew, that we had seen day in and day out. But now we have had exactly that stuff, the subversion, day in and day out for over 10 years. And the problem with that is the subversion will get stale very quickly. The original does not. You need a break from the original once in a while, but the subversion you can only stand for a while. We need to get back to proper stuff. Does that make sense?
Hopefully, we can see what happens the next year or two with the changes to Disney. If they're actually making stuff for young men again, that'd be nice.
I heard YouTube drop Disney and other stuff. Whatever that means.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea if that changes a thing. It's still YouTube. Anyway.
In response to other comments, Matt clarified that his issue is not necessarily about trying to make something to appeal to young males, but making something to appeal to a specific demographic. In regards to specific demos.
Yeah, but that's what they mean when they say young males. It's a certain type of watcher, which is a demographic. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, just like the new audience. Like the new audience is a specific demographic. It's just one that doesn't exist. It's one that they wanted to create, to make exist by just flooding the market so that people have no choice but to take up that crap stuff, that propaganda crap stuff, and in the hopes that it would magically transform people's minds and brainwash them into becoming the new audience, because they truly believe it works that way, that people are so malleable. And I believe there is an element of projection in there, because that's what certain low-level minds work like. And when you give them positions of responsibility, they start to project. It's the same thing where the Christian moms got their problems with violent video games from, because they thought, oh, that makes me aggressive and violent, so it must make the children aggressive and violent, so we should take the violent video games away. But because they can't actually distinguish between fiction and reality, they don't understand that that's not the case for other people. That they are actually the crazy ones. And yeah, so the ideologues, they think exactly that same way. That's just that they're not Christian moms, they are rainbow moms. And we get this whole other problem.
Yeah, let's not bring up any of the current issues with the...
I'm trying.
Yeah. Anyway.
But that's kind of the topic.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where he goes with this.
Audience in mind. Demographics, that is. Specific gender demographics, that is. I understand that there are many shows that you can consider a girl show or a boy show, even a traditionally girl...
No, everybody loved Powerpuff Girls. That was universal. They're awesome.
If it's done well. Do we really need to be reminded of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Back in the day, some of my favorite shows were ones that, especially in retrospect, I could see as appealing to both girls and boys. Looking back, could you really say that Rocko's Modern Life was made just to appeal to little boys? Or Cow and Chicken, Cat Dog, Rugrats, Foster's, Billy and Mandy?
Maybe some cartoons will cheer you up.
I hated this stuff.
Even shows that, on the surface, look like they would just appeal to girls, like Powerpuff Girls, are ones that...
Why do you think Powerpuff Girls appeal to girls, specifically? Because the protagonists are girls? It's a complete action show. Beating up giant monsters. It's like saying Panty and Stocking is a show for girls because the main characters are pretty girls who beat up giant kaiju demon ghost things. I never understood this.
Not a very good argument.
Ass fan baseable.
Mine or his?
His. Because it seems like he is just looking on the surface and the aesthetic, you could say.
Yeah, it's rather that what is being done in the show is more important than what the protagonist is. We've been trying to tell that to the feminists for I don't know how many decades now. This is a violent show, so it appeals more to boys. And the whole girl crap is just there it's amusing because it's silly. It gives you a greater juxtaposition between these dainty little... They're kindergartners, by the way. They're not even in school. Mm-hmm. And they go around and they do this girly stuff and then they beat up giant monsters. That just shows how more extreme it is. That's the fun part of it.
And they're basically Superman level.
Yeah, they could beat up Superman.
I mean, Superman is ultimate. People have scaled it. He is ultimately stronger, but they put up a fight.
They are free.
That's a whole other discussion.
There's 3 of them.
There's 3 on 1. Yeah, that'll make a difference.
He has no chance against 3 toddlers.
Oh dear.
Mm.
Yeah.
Look, Ginga. Superman is weak to magic. Girls effectively use magic when they do the puppy eyes. And these are little girls. They use puppy eyes all the time. Superman has no chance.
Sure. But again, whole other point. That just came to mind.
Yeah, an important one.
All right.
Yeah, fair.
Of all genders. What's funny is that Powerpuff Girls is a very famous example of a show that was almost ruined because it didn't immediately appeal to young boys in focus groups.
Craig panicked that afternoon, and he came back that evening and redesigned the whole show in a night.
I went, they're too weird. They don't have fingers, they don't have ears, and some people thought they were bugs.
I was in that focus group. I had a problem with the fingers.
But I got this call from Mike Lazo, and he basically told me, he said, Craig, look, we like this short, and I know you got a negative reaction, but I'm much more interested in a negative reaction than a lukewarm reaction.
I mean, the original pilot of Powerpuff Girls was called Whoop-Ass Girls. I mean, that's a title that really is going to appeal to young boys. When I was a kid, my sister used to watch this show called Daria on MTV. Every time she would turn it on, I would huff and puff about it being a girl show, and I didn't want to watch it. Until I actually started to watch it. What I found was one of my favorite animated shows of the time, and one I've ended up watching more and more times than the show it spun off from, Beavis and Butthead. Why? It had good humor, a relatable protagonist, good stories, interesting characters. Which kind of brings up the biggest point around this, and one of the things that I believe Matt had an issue with the original story. For those who may not know, Amphibia was a show that aired on the Disney Channel, which actually had a pretty good streak of animation both for story-focused serials and episodic comedies, like Amphibia, Owl House, Big City Greens, Stugo, DuckTales, The Ghost and Molly McGee, and others. These are shows that, in my personal opinion, do not specifically appeal to any one demographic over another.
Most of those were modern audience shows. Most of those. And even the better ones, like the DuckTales remake, that while having a very unique art style, it didn't feel like DuckTales. It felt like something dour, because it was very drawn with sharp edges. Don't want to say edgy, but it had sharp edges. It had very dark colors. Like everything is I'd say that it's a color scheme and atmosphere you'd use if you were doing an H.P. Lovecraft cartoon. And in the second season, especially the first one was okay. And in the second season, they went deeper into the SJW themes. They kept it on a digestible level, but you had all the elements in there. All the males were incompetent. All the female characters were in the center. The triplets were just infighting. They never came together. And they were replaced by female clones of themselves. Literally. And is it Daisy, the girl one? She got to be the protagonist, the front and center character. The only male they didn't touch, they didn't ruin, was Scrooge McDuck himself. Because I think that would have been too obvious. With Donald, you can play around as him being somewhat douchey, because that's simply what he is. And he had a redemptive moment at some point, that was a good subversion. But overall, they played the entire book of the SJW subversion of men bad, women good.
And then they had Donald be voiced by Don Cheadle for some fucking reason.
All right.
In regards to gender, some might say that Amphibia, Owl House, and Ghost and Molly McGee would be girl shows, but I ask why? Because they have girl leads? Because the breakdown for protagonists in Amphibia, for example, would be 2 males and 2 females. Amphibia is in a fantasy setting that includes a long journey, action, comedy, and even robots. But for some, it's just a girl show. Seeing a lot of replies in regards to this makes me think that everyone assumes that
I have to give one piece of advice. When there's a slime or snot monster throwing its snot around, do not scream with your mouth open. That's probably not healthy.
Value in appealing to young boys at all, which is stupid when you remember that Matt himself is a boy and was, more than likely, once a young boy. His previous show, Amphibia, would have a few references to anime that many would consider to appeal to young boys, like Gundam, and specifically G Gundam. And his current
That's just a variant of a magical girl transformation. Getting into the robot is just a male version of the magical girl transformation.
I mean, you
can fight me on that, but that's all that is.
They could be specific to a certain show or a certain character from a certain show from the 80s or 90s in Japan. That's possible. But yeah, it's cartoons for kids that have magical things happening, things coming out of the sky. That's going to be a given.
Project, a comic Force V, is a Sentai-inspired comic about a family of heroes fighting against an alien threat.
You can see the diversity on display.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Smud. Go back 5 seconds.
What, this?
The moment where he shows the family
Yeah.
themselves on the screen.
Oh, it was already there. Are we seeing like a second later or something?
Force V is a
It was
Sentai-inspired
me,
comic
okay.
about a family of...
There it is.
So now I see it.
Okay, yeah. So, well, this is a family thing. This is kind of like Captain Planet sort of deal. Everyone has their own power, different color. Meh.
You can kind of say it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the $6 billion man family.
No.
Not even
Heroes.
Power Rangers was this egregious.
Who had a black adoptive son who was also a billion thingy guy upgraded Bionic Man.
Yeah.
And there were
Fighting
these.
against it.
Oh, this is a good point. In that cartoon, they were at least honest enough to have the diversity characters in the family be adopted, and not have this whole everybody must mix stuff going on, which they shill everywhere, which they also shill in Israel, by the way, which is why the left has lost the election there. Probably didn't know that one. This is why people don't like it. And why children are also fed up with this. Because, look, the thing is, children look at their families and they see homogeneity. So when they see superhero families, they don't necessarily need to see someone of every race in them. It's more helpful for them when they see a homogeneous family, because it doesn't matter whether that family is of their own people or another people. But they see that which is familiar is that it is a homogeneous family. And that is what works, because this just looks like random people, not like a family. They don't look like they actually are related to each other.
Yeah.
At best, if it's a group of kids, the best chance you would have is if all the kids are from the foster care system, and even then, that's still dodgy at best.
Alien, another trope many consider appealing to boys. Matt's issue here is not about making a show that appeals to boys, but thinking a show needs to exist that appeals to boys only. Of course, he didn't make this case easy for himself when he previously made a statement about the recent success of K-pop Demon Hunters, specifically that it was nice that a movie succeeded that included female leads. People quickly equated this to Matt saying K-pop Demon Hunters was good because it appealed to a female audience. But it's not what he said. He just said that it was good that it had female leads. Now,
Which makes him sexist.
Also,
I mean,
first of all-
seriously. Why is
Also,
that... Go on.
Yeah. Also, first of all, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Before anything else.
That's why it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I saw clips, and it seemed like an entertaining show for pretty much the whole family. Maybe there might be some romantic scenes in there, like, ooh, that's a little dicey.
Yeah, it's like there was a decent amount of people looked at it as at first, just at the face of it, a lot of people, you would assume that it was gonna fail, but
It has a
once
bit
you
odd.
actually look,
Yeah, it has a few odd style choices, but you do get used to them, because the weird anime caricature extreme face expression is difficult to pull off in 3D. It usually looks weird and wrong. It's still not perfect, but it kind of works. You can get used to it, and that's okay. And it has an absolutely wonderful villain atmosphere. The villains are fun. They have great character. You like the villains because, and the super villain, because he's just this faceless demon that's just a firewall or behind the firewall, and it's just a voice. And he's been there for a very long time. So he's not this rage monster. He's just, okay, I'm here for a very long time. Anyone has a new plan? Okay, what's your plan? Okay, we'll do that.
just
Okay,
going
you
down the
failed.
list, yeah.
Yeah. Why must I deal with all of it? He's basically a weathered Donald Trump, if you will, with a Barry White voice. It's great.
More or less. Yeah.
I want that. I would vote for that villain.
And as I've said before, that movie taps into that kind of vibe that's a mix of Gem and the Holograms and Devil May Cry, which if you like those two things in particular, you're gonna like this movie.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Because it taps into specific things that both of those also tap into, especially Devil May Cry. It's like it has when I saw it, and when I saw it, it's like it had a bit of a tinge of DMC 3 in there, a little bit of 3, a little bit of 4.
So you are saying that K-pop Demon Hunters is a better DMC movie than the DMC Netflix show?
It's a better DMC. It's a better DMC than the reboot and the Netflix show combined.
Ooh.
It's like I'm waiting for that crossover. If we get Devil May Cry 6, like have a K-pop Demon Hunter.
Oh boy! Can you imagine Dante doing dance brews from K-pop?
Look,
yes, I can.
Yeah. Of course you can.
Yes, I can.
If all of you, that's all of you who chat and listen, if all of you now started giving me money so that I learn to draw and then produce 1 frame a day to make a Bayonetta Dante crossover movie all by myself, it will be better than whatever Adi Shankar shat out.
Hell yeah.
And cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glad over if we've reached a point where female leads are in parity with their male ones. But depending on how you look at it, it's still nice to see a movie like that do well. The problem is that no one is interested in trying to understand where he's coming from. We've been hearing from grifters and hacks for years that Western animation is dead and they don't make shows for...
Oh, the people who point out that the whole SJW socialist, communist, pedophile shit was failing are the grifters. Grifter means that you spout an opinion for money or in the hopes that you get something out of it that you don't actually hold, that you don't believe in. These people believe in what they say. All of them. They believe what they say.
Also, you have to remember that, for example, with Jeremy in the lower left, this was, I think, when the X-Men was announced.
97.
And yes, the X-Men 97 was announced, and that looked to be very, very taken over show. And from what I remember, it was actually relatively good.
Yeah,
and
like the whole thing.
And I think Jeremy and other people gave it a chance, and actually then said it that okay, it's decent.
Yeah, and it was all because of that whole thing, that initial thing of Morph being, what was it, non-binary or something like that. But that turned out to be a red herring.
Yeah, thankfully.
Really?
And this is the important thing that this side of the conversation does actually still give these things a chance, and they you call it hate watch, but actually they're martyrs who go in so that you don't have to watch it. Just like the nostalgia critic who remembers things so you don't have to.
Well, I gotta.
So they torment themselves. That's why Az tormented himself playing Veilguard.
Yeah.
Or Arch with the Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh my god!
Did he watch it or did he play it?
Oh my god! Is he done?
I think he said that he's after his video that he made on it that he's not touching this game ever again.
Oh, he finished it.
Good.
I'm not sure if he finished it or if he just gave up.
Because
I've only seen the first three streams of his, which are all about 5 hours, and I have never taken so long to watch somebody's playthrough stream, even on increased speed, because it was so bloody boring that I needed to do other things. I couldn't just have it on the side. I had to pause it and do something else entirely, because it's not the noise, the background noise that helps you do stuff. That's just there to fill the room. It was like background noise that sucked the life out of room like an actual vampire.
Well, it was
atrocious.
It was having saving problems with other streamers, and they said that they lost the progress after 2 hours or so, and they just gave up. They didn't want to play anymore. So.
Well, completely understandable. The story is garbage. The gameplay is garbage. The thing is, Paradox gave the project to mid-development to another company, and that company is the Chinese Room, and the Chinese Room made Dear Esther. Dear Esther is a walking simulator. The Chinese Room makes walking simulators. It can't even make an RPG if it wanted to, because it doesn't understand what that is. It thinks it's going around clicking on people to talk to them, and that's it. The conversations, the whole flow in Vampire 2 doesn't feel like an RPG. It feels like a Disney park ride, which is what walking simulators are.
Yeah, so from what Arch has said, it was the Chinese room wanted to make a different thing that was not connected to the Bloodlines name, I think, but they were forced to buy Paradox.
Yeah, it's like you get homework, and then you ask, "Can I do something else instead?" And the teacher says, "No, I gave you this to make this. That's why I gave you this thing. But I want to make the other thing." And then instead of making the actual thing that you're asked to do, you still make the thing you actually want to do and kind of duct tape the thing that the teacher asked for on the side so that it kind of looks like it does. And that's what they did. It's a hack job.
Yeah. And to expand on the X-Men 97 thing, obviously, like, it turned out the Morph being a bisexual thing, it was all just a red herring, and for the most part, X-Men 97 was actually pretty good. And to expand on and the whole thing with the showrunner being fired as well, that, which even made the news cycle, where he was one of the few people still left in Marvel who was a fan of the source material, wanted to be faithful to the source material, and specifically for that, he was booted.
So here's the thing. Here's a thing, Ginga. Is it possible that the Morph being non-binary, whatever, was not a red herring, but deliberate propaganda by the social justice warriors in order to poison the well against the show so that people wouldn't touch it, so that it would flop, because they know that things flop when people know in advance that things are woke. So that the guy would get a bad rap.
You know what? Now that you say it, yeah, that is a better way to put it. And yeah, that is basically how it played out. Because and even he took to Twitter and fired back at Disney and Disney Marvel and everything. It's explaining the whole process that's going on in the past few years in regards to how they're actually making the shows and the movies and stuff. He was one of the few people left over there that actually gave a damn about the source material.
Yeah,
and
so
they booted him as a result.
Yeah, so they wanted his project to fail, that they had an excuse to boot him, which is a hell of a length to go to, just to clean house. I think there were other things in the past, not a lot, but there were other things in the past where this was also done, where the SJWs lied about something having woke content that wasn't actually there, in the hopes that the thing would flop. But I don't have a list of it in my mind right now. But I think there were 2 or 3 things like that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head either. But it has become somewhat of a common occurrence in the past few years with things.
Yeah, and there's this one thing to add here as well, and that is with Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is a well-meaning idiot. He doesn't know anything about in terms of media animation. In media, definitely. Just like, what's his name, Gavin McGuinness? He has no clue about animation and comics as well. He has a very strange taste in that regard. Because here on this slide, there's the things on the left were infested by the woke crap. Steven Universe was that from the start. My Little Pony, however, that generation, was not woke. In its last seasons, that stuff got in. That defined parts of the writing a lot. But the first 5 seasons? No. There was an anti-communist double episode.
It was the season 5 premiere. I was just about to say it.
Mm-hmm. You had a double feature that with a villain who wanted to make everybody equal, thinking that the cutie marks they just make everyone unique and special and therefore stand out, and that's not equal. And she replaced all the cutie marks with equal signs.
Yeah.
And everybody became miserable. Because that's what happens in communism. It was great.
All right, let's keep going.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. I especially liked the argument is taking over the market share from Western cartoons, and they're going to kill them. Which is funny, because the same people always claim anime is dead too, because the companies...
No one has claimed anime is dead. I don't know who said this.
It's the SJWs try to, because they try to spell things into death. Like they said, do you remember when Sarkeesian and Quinn and Leigh Alexander said video games are dead? Video
No.
games are over? Like that's out of the blue, as if that's a magic spell that is just a finger of death on everything that they can cast.
I've heard people say that, but what they mean is they're bored. They don't like the stuff. It doesn't appeal to them for whatever reason. So they say to them it's dead.
Yeah, what they mean?
No,
what they mean is
Smart, that's not
them.
what they mean.
Yeah, but
They mean it in general.
The only thing I could say is that what usually people say when that's at least what I think when anime fans say that anime is dead is when we see stuff like One Punch Man Season 3 or Blue Lock, when the animation is absolute garbage and just doesn't belong anywhere.
Or early Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah. And that is, the places where we get frustrated. But I think that's about it. There's so much anime coming out right the second that to call it a dead medium would be a gross overstatement.
Oh yeah, and even with the gaming industry being the largest entertainment industry in the world, you can't say, was it $500 billion industry is just going to shrivel up somehow. It's kind of silly. And there's someone enjoying something that someone else is not enjoying, and that's totally fine. But to say it's dead or your limited worldview or your limited media view, it's like, okay, let's take a step back and see what you're actually saying. Why do you think it's no longer a good form of media or entertainment, at least? So
they literally believe that they can spell things into existence and out of existence.
Okay.
They believe it is magic, that if they say it long enough, that it somehow manifests in reality.
Yeah, I know.
They are insane.
That's with any hocus pocus we hear from political pundits and this and that. But yeah, same thing.
Role in being taken over by SJWs and Western localizers.
It had.
One person referred to Crunchyroll as the worst way to watch anime.
Probably.
Yeah, have you seen the current subtitle quality in that fucking
Yeah,
show?
not all of them, I'm sure, but some of them are like, yeah, that's not. The dubs aren't really.
Good chunk of them.
Yeah, the dubs aren't very good.
The subs.
Even the subs, I haven't watched the subs, so I can't say.
The subs now, because there are some fan sub groups who just rip the Crunchyroll stuff and just basically just hand out the Crunchyroll stuff. They don't make actual fan subs. The Crunchyroll subtitles now, they're not even they don't even have upper subtitles anymore. I don't know if there's a special term for that. For like when two characters talk, that it's in different places on the screen, or that they put the signage, sign translations somewhere on the screen, or at least as a footnote at the top note maybe. No, everything is now at the bottom. And just an extra line above that, and they switch around, and they don't even use proper fonts anymore, and the proper bordering, so that it's an easy read. It feels like the subtitle quality has gone back to 90s VHS. It's absolutely like, what the fuck? Couldn't you at least keep the settings that you had before? Who did these people hire all of a sudden? I don't think Crunchyroll does the subtitles in-house anymore. I have the feeling they handed it out to some AI generator scam office in India.
I mean, more than once that was proven correct. So
Also, a reminder that they're owned by Sony, so.
And Sony has been taken over by the SJWs because they moved their headquarters to California.
What?
They quite literally became an American company.
Yeah, and not an American company, a Californian company.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Where they demanded that the Japanese all talk to them in English because they don't want to learn Japanese.
Yeah, because at this point, California might as well be its own nation, like the Vatican.
Yeah, and then started to dictate to them what they can and cannot have in their Japanese games in Japan. This is what an ideological takeover, a hostile takeover, a subversive takeover, a march through the institution looks like. This is how they do it. They infest you, take you over, and gut you. Until you have nothing left but their ideology, and they hope that then you finally like it. exactly like this modern audience stuff, they know it doesn't exist. They want to create it. They want to make it. And if you don't like it, it's not made for you. And you should just despawn and make room for the modern audience that is here. It is going to be here any minute now. I'm looking at my wrist, at my metaphorical watch. It's going to be here any second. It's not been here the past 15 years, but it's going to arrive right now. I'm sure. There's just one more second, please, maybe.
2,000 years later.
And humanity is finally dead.
All right.
And equal in death.
Let's
and
keep
we
going.
can finally become a brethren moon.
Yep.
Torrent anime instead, which I find hilarious, considering all anime you see on torrent sites are just rips from Crunchyroll.
Not exactly
you're taking
true.
That's because you don't know where to look.
Yeah, there's so many fan sub sites that you can't, like, you find the good ones you like, or they change their name because of copyright, whatever, and they find another website, and it's, you always download from like HF or HR, whatever those weird numbers are or letters are next to the torrent. So, or you just go to various other anime online free apps like Pluto or other kinds of streaming services that are free. You could do it that way too.
Ew, streaming. Real people download.
Crunchyroll because you think they're doing a bad job specifically with translating the shows, but you're still watching those poor translations from Crunchyroll. The biggest argument I've seen out of this is that there's no more action cartoons anymore. Action cartoons seem to be a huge point of contention for people, something that everyone seems to want back. Look, back in the 90s and early 2000s and even the late 2000s, action cartoons were a thing. Some of the biggest examples were things like Samurai Jack, various superhero shows like Superman, Batman, the Justice League, Ben 10, Generator Rex, and so on. I am, of course, not counting the various anime coming out at the time, since we're talking about Western cartoons, which of course they were trying to copy the style at the time. That and superheroes getting popular.
They still are. They still are trying to copy it.
There again saw a lot of action cartoons. But as all things go, tastes change and people move on, and action cartoons became far less prominent than they were. What caused this? Well, there could be a lot of reasons, many of which I'm sure would be a decision of a high-level executive looking at various numbers and figures.
Or the high-level executive being presented with bullshit numbers, as has often been the case, because they've been telling them, hey, there's totally this modern audience that you should appeal to. Let's make stuff for that. It's totally the next thing. And everybody did it for 5 to 10 years and didn't see how others were failing and companies were shutting down. They were thinking, like, yeah, this time is going to work. And everything fell apart. Oh, you had things that were directly run by these people with ulterior motives. Yes, Rabbit?
Yeah, do not forget that absolute tons of animation, Western animation, got offloaded into Korea and other places. And it lost its identity completely.
Mm-hmm. That as well. I mean, they know what they're doing there, but that's not what Western stuff looks like. Have your own style. That's what makes you stand out. And what was the last thing I wanted to add? Oh, damn it.
Okay.
But Network and Warner Brothers were the last bastion of it. Around 2011 to 2013, WB had a few more action-based cartoons airing on Cartoon Network. Batman Brave and the Bold, Thundercats, Young Justice, Green Lantern,
Don't cut it so
and
fast,
Beware
please.
the Batman. A few of these shows had their own toy lines, which would fail in one way.
That the Thundercats intro was made in Japan. It's the intro is an anime.
Or another. I remember personally when Young Justice and Thundercats toys first hit the
I'm pretty sure the reboot of Thundercats was also made in Asia. Am I wrong?
It was also just a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm.
stay there. At least in my area, people were just not interested in it, despite the toys being pretty good. The Young Justice line in particular was a favorite of mine. But something about them just didn't hit with people. And For the time, toy lines were everything with action cartoons. I mean,
People. It didn't hit with people. Have you considered that this merchandise was meant for children, not people? Children aren't people, they're children. We are in a time where all the kids have their gaming consoles, and irresponsible parents give them Apple tablets and all that shit all the time. They don't think about playing with figurines anymore. That's the problem. They don't need them. Or rather, they do need them, but they don't know that they need them in order for better growing up, because that's what actually sparks your imagination, the imaginative play. And in that sense, yes, the action figure is the doll that a boy plays with for his fantasy, for his imaginative stories. Just like the girl plays with her dolls for her stories.
All right, here's a super chat from Frog Jupiter. Thank you, sir, for the 5. Conquest second law. I don't know if that's a law in Conquest. I've never heard of those laws, but I'm curious where you got that. Any organization that is not explicitly anti-communist will fall to communist subversion. Just look at Hollywood or AAA gaming.
I 100% agree with that. I do not know what Conquest second law is, but I think I formulated that eventually myself, because that's how they took over our pro-constitution party 15 years ago.
What if...
Because we weren't explicitly anti-communist.
What if the organization is, in fact, communist? Would they fall to themselves or some other communist regime? Like, how would that work?
Since communists are constantly infighting, that may as well happen.
Oh, yeah? They'll just implode.
Dude, the town I'm in has at least 3 groups of Antifa that are more busy fighting each other than anybody else.
Germany's a fun place, isn't it?
No. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
I love the country. It's beautiful. The Germans are amazing. The communists just don't. We need to discover another continent where we can put all the communists.
Right. Okay.
Because we ran out of countries to discover. That's just the problem.
Okay. Interesting. Let's keep going.
Look at Ben 10. Toys were flying off the shelves and the show lasted forever. A very Toyota concept. Now, I'm sure we...
A very Toyota concept.
Toyetic.
Toyetic?
Yes, that is the term.
That is a word?
That's not a word.
Yep.
Toyetic.
Toyetic, yes.
All right, let me Google that.
Can you define that?
Toyetic describes a media property such as a movie or TV show that has characters, objects, and themes well suited for creating marketable toys and other merchandise. I've never heard of that term.
Yeah,
that must be some marketing term.
I thought it was stupid when I first heard the word, but yeah, it tracks.
Huh. It is a term.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fascinating.
I will not use it.
Each their own, but that is the term.
That's okay. It's okay.
All right. Cool. You learned something.
Not all words can be good.
Well, no, you learn words that you should probably never use in your life, but nice to know about them.
We can make the argument that these shows were not what people wanted at the time, but other action shows would have done better. Maybe. But Young Justice was still a beloved show, enough for it to be brought back years later. Thundercats is still seen as an underappreciated remake of a beloved franchise, especially after years later when Cartoon Network would try to reboot the franchise again as a Teen Titans Go-inspired comedy series with disastrous results.
You've shown me.
Yeah, not just that. It was made with spite. It was to be crap.
I hate that clip.
That Thundercats Roar is a worthy successor, and anyone who says otherwise has a poop mouth with poop opinions.
There would be
what?
Cartoon.
That was an act. Yeah, that was the actual finale.
Wow.
Yeah, burn it down.
Mm-hmm. It was absolute narcissism.
There and other places. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has always had a pretty consistent string of animated shows. Around the time Cartoon Network was trying and failing with their action shows, TMNT 2012 was currently airing and seeing massive success on Nickelodeon with a successful show and toy line. Legit, the 2012 TMNT toy line is one of the best lines since the original 80s one. Later on, Rise...
Yeah, because that was still true to the idea of Turtles. That which is here on screen is not true to the idea of Turtles. That's just random black American gutter people dressed as the Turtles.
to mixed reviews, but despite it taking a bit of a different direction with the TMNT formula,
a bit.
Raph, the leader of the team, or the introduction of magic.
Wait. Raphael was the leader?
Mix of comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
That's a sign that they we're just changing. You just don't like change. The whole point is Raphael is a hothead.
Yes.
And he's angry. He can't be the leader.
He's not. That's not leadership material. You need a guy who's logical and practical and thinks for everyone. And
mind you, to play devil advocate, the show was actually decent.
And
it's
stoic.
not that bad.
Oh, I'm sure it was
I
fun.
still hate it. This is the show with the super ugly April.
I will grant you the designs, yes, but the actual.
I do not want to ever look at that abomination.
Okay.
It will ruin every single moment of the show for me, so I will not even give it a chance.
All right.
Mixed reviews, but despite it taking a bit of a different direction with the TMNT formula, including making Raph the leader of the team, or the...
And did you just see that flickering there? That is seizure-inducing stuff. The Americans have absolutely no excuse to ever crap about anything Japanese, or the Pikachu incident, the Pokemon incident, which was very, very exaggerated, because they still keep doing this full-screen flash stuff on high speed in this strobe light fashion. Fuck you.
Never forget Electric Soldier Porygon.
That was the incident.
Yep.
But it wasn't actually that tons of children had seizures. It's that tons of children heard that a few children had seizures and didn't need to go to school. So all the children suddenly were seizuring out, and so that they didn't need to go to school.
The dumbest part about that everyone blamed Porygon for it when it was actually Pikachu's fault.
It's always Pikachu's fault.
Production of magic weapons, it was still a nice mix of comedy and action. Although even now, when the show is brought up, it's mocked for its action scenes looking too much like anime. Which is weird, because so much discourse is about wanting more action cartoons and that anime...
Yeah, that these things there on screen, they are too close on the seizure level for me. I'll get migraines after this, even though it's just in the corner. You can mitigate that if you just have it in the corner and you don't have the entire screen do that. But what they do here is that they have too bright, too sharp, too quick flashes. That is a deadly combination. It may look cool to you if you're not prone to migraines. Migraines are part of the epilepsy family. Migraines are not just headaches. If you just have a tension headache in the back of your neck or something, and that massaging that makes your migraine go away, you didn't have a migraine. Just putting that out. And since this is all children's animation, maybe people should fucking learn, or why I can ask the mean question. Why the fuck do you want to kill children?
Making weapons. When a cartoon includes action and maybe inspired by anime, it's just, no, not like that, another way. The truth of the matter is, there is no...
Raphael looked like a tank. That's horrible.
No sure fight to bring back action cartoons to air. From the perspective of some fans, there are scores of action cartoons that are just waiting to be greenlit by studios, but they just won't do it. I assume they think that's the case because they have a disdain for males or some other such talking point. But I never see creators saying they have an action show to make, but no one will pick it up. Some shows that may be considered action slip through now and then. There was the underappreciated classic Motor City that came and went in the blink of an eye, or the Netflix/Nickelodeon show Glitch Techs. But the bigger trend right now seems to be more about adventure shows after the massive success of, funnily enough, Adventure Time. Now we see a ton of shows with adventure and fantasy settings that mix slice-of-life one-off episodes with overarching stories. Shows previously mentioned like Owl House and Amphibia fit into this, but also shows like OKKO, another action show ignored by groups apparently starving for it.
It looks
Gravity
disgusting.
Falls, Ghosts of Molly McGee, and others. Cartoon Network even got in on the adventure show miniseries with Infinity Train and Over the...
That thing you just showed before, with that noodly stuff. It looks like corporate art style. I do not want to see that shit. It looks like the soft children's version of brutalism. Throw that back into the abyss.
It has its place, just not in animation for kids.
Where is its place? Not the abyss.
Slideshows for corporate presentations. It's very effective.
Not even that. Not even there. Everybody hates this. It's ugly. It's revolting. You don't want to look at it. What's effective about? What do you mean with effective?
Meaning
you could just put a picture of a flower there that looks nice. That's the same effective.
Well, the general idea is it's not safe, but it's calming. It's nothing.
It infuriates me. It makes me feel revolted. My guts are twisting themselves. It makes me not want to go to work.
Well, not everyone's a German who has problems with animation. This is just a generic image that people go, "Oh, cool presentation," and there's a person working at their desk, and they have gigantic shoulders, and their arms are like twiggly arms,
and have tiny heads because they're mutants, and maybe what the eugenics want to turn us into. No, it's not funny. It's disgusting. And you're telling me that the majority of humans on the planet have absolutely no sense of aesthetics, where they cannot feel disgust by looking at something that's actively disgusting with disgusting color choices on top.
They don't have a standard of criteria to apply aesthetics because they don't care, because they just see it like, just whatever, it's a person, let's get on with the meeting, I got work to do, so it's just something to relate to with someone in a meeting and a presentation.
Okay, if you make me president or chancellor or whatever nonsense, I will hold a referendum.
Oh Jesus!
And ask the people, do you want, or do you feel revolted by this corporate art style?
Oh God!
And if it is negative, it will burn forever.
I will ask my fine art masters people what they think of it and whether or not it's effective or not. They gave me all these. Yeah, no, there's all this psychology.
They are just taught to believe all this bullshit.
No. There's effective ways of presenting things in presentations that involve line art, symbols, all kinds of emotes that work specifically for who they're presenting to. And yes, we don't like it because it kind of doesn't look very good. But but if you go to any bank, you go to any of their presentations, you go to their brochures or flyers they give you, it's always very cool, calming colors, very copacetic.
Calming colors in an assortment of shapes that make you want to puke.
I don't know about that reaction. I've never encountered that. Most people just go, yeah, whatever.
If I see that on a presentation,
yeah, but they're not you, Whisp.
I want to throw whatever I have at the screen.
Wisp, they're not you, okay? They're average people going to a bank just to use their money.
So you are literally telling me I'm better than average people.
Sure.
Do you remember that comment that someone made about the AI? That they saw that the AI is speaking like corporate managers, and they thought that AI reached consciousness instead of thinking that corporate managers don't have any.
Yeah, because corporate managers are psychopaths.
They're all this. They all sound the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that, I would say.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've had this art way before AI, and it's just one of those things that stuck around, like Comic Sans font, and we still have it for whatever reason. And we get used to it.
I refuse. No, it's like telling me, "Oh, get used to brutalism. It's the thing now." Because the government says no.
Architecture. That's something a bit different. But no.
All these companies changing their logos to this absolute slop shit that all looks the same. That's because companies believe they have to do this now for some mad reason.
Well, they're not experts.
Some overpaid idiot scams them into it.
Yeah,
the Firefox logo doesn't look like a fox anymore.
Oh yeah, what is it now?
It's just a swirl now. It's just a red swirl. And this is the same. It's the same thing with the corporate art style. It's hacks having sold that for silly prices to companies to, hey, take our stuff, because they can easily make it, and then the company takes it for too much money.
All right.
That's just a scam.
Let us keep going. This is another super chat from Frog Jupiter. Thank you, sir, for the 5. Young Justice Season 3 was pretty good, and the commies didn't show their fangs yet or much. Season 4 had the character Violet be a non-binary Muslim. I've never heard of that. A non-binary... Is that like a
that's haram.
Is that a reformed Muslim? Is that a...
No, that's just haram. There's no such thing as a reformed Muslim.
I know. I'm trying to think of like like you believe in the faith, you just don't wear all the outfits because it doesn't feel good or whatever for women.
That's haram. Then you must be stoned and decapitated.
Oh my god. Anyway, back to our wonderful video.
And that's not an exaggeration.
Fantastic shows that are not talked about claim to want good cartoons. Many of these shows, in fact, all of them in my opinion, are shows made to appeal to a broad audience across both genders, which brings up an interesting question.
Do they appeal to children?
I try to ask when navigating all of this. What makes a show for girls or for boys? I had a conversation with a follower who said boys' shows were motivated by action, whereas girl shows were pushed by emotion. Another one of my mutuals described...
You could rather social interaction, because man, there's a lot of emotion in boy shows. Mainly rage.
Maybe dramatic emotion for girls' shows, like romance.
Well, it's the social interaction aspect.
Yeah, I'm just curious what emotions. Like if you look at Sailor Moon, it's like it's kind of action as well, or magical girl shows.
It's social conflict and hugging it out.
Not necessarily.
And being at the top of the social hierarchy.
Well, not with Sailor Moon, but I mean, for girl shows, I'm thinking of like specific, like non-romantic comedy that are geared towards women. So it's like a girl goes isekai and she's in another body and she's part of a aristocracy and she's going to marry the prince, but the prince doesn't love her, so they throw her out or whatever. Like something.
You mean she's at the? It's about some social hierarchy that she's at.
Something. Yeah, there has to be some system of society that she's a part of. That would appeal. Like there's all kinds of stories like that. It's always like a romance with that, but even though it's not a romance story, there is romance that develops naturally. So. Like it's all those elements. There's the brother, there's the sister, there's the outcast, there's the father and the queen, and all these other nobilities. There's the bad boy nobility. There's the guy who hates your guts nobility, and all that. All these people about have an opinion about the main character. So
it was a pretty good girls anime from I think it's from the 80s. I don't remember its name. It ran here. I don't know on whose story it was based. About a girl who got into an all-girls school in, I believe, England, and her rich parents then died on some expedition, and then she was poor, and then she had to work at the place instead of being a student, and it was all a touching story because there was the mean girl group that was all mean to her, and then later on some other rich family guy noticed that and then took her under his wing and paid for it, and so she was reinstated basically, and it was all a really touching story. That's a girl anime.
Yeah,
it's all about the story of life and the social interactions.
I'm going to bring up the one that's showing on anime right now, which was previously a manga called May I Ask for One Final Thing, which is a story of a girl who punches the nobles, and she controls time and she can punch really fast or whatever. So that specifically appeals to guys because it's basically a power fantasy, but as a girl, and all the things that she has to do to rid the kingdom of corruption and slavery or whatever. But it's a girl. She's a really badass girl, and she's gorgeous, and she's known for being brutal, and she loves punching people. It's hilarious. Like the solution to most things is to punch people. It's like, okay.
So she's Ryuko, and it appeals to boys and tomboys, which are better boys.
She's not really, like when you look at her, she's obviously not a tomboy, but yeah, she acts like a tomboy. Anyway,
Tomboy is more about the acting than the looking.
I guess so. Yeah. Anyway, it's a little different than the norm with a female lead. That the stories are always action packed because they don't have much animation or a budget for that. But it focuses on the drama and the like, who is this guy and why is he acting like, oh, he's part of the slave trade. Oh, how do we get in? How do we have to talk to him? So it's always these little plots. It's not just flirting with the prince or what this or that.
And female stories are story-based, which is called a holdover from
the females like the stories, but the men like the action stories. Wow.
Yeah,
It's
why not
it's
both?
a
Why not both,
holdover
like
from the 80s, right?
Oh.
Yeah, why not both? Why not both at once, like K-pop Demon Hearts?
I think he's just trying to describe, but he doesn't know what to say exactly.
I mean, since this is he's by saying that, oh, it's a holdover from the 80s means, oh, that's just outdated sexism.
You mean Jap anime or just cartoons?
No, he's believing in the gender neutral blank slate bullshit. That's what this means. And since this is a post K-pop Demon Hunters video essay or whatever this is, we can tell this is a very recent one without having to look it up, and it's unbelievable how he is stuck in time like that. Dude, the science is real. Trust the science. Boys and girls have different interests, and we know how that runs. Do not try to topple everything we know because, oh, but there's this edge case and there's that edge case. They're not 50-50. They are edge cases. They're like 1%. They're the exceptions. Exceptions do not break the rule. Exceptions make it fun and spicy, but they are not breaking the rule.
The 80s marketing strategy, which I do agree is a holdover, something that many creators don't really seem to think about now. Mostly because most cartoons don't exactly have toy lines to push to either boys or girls anymore. Heck, one of the biggest cartoons I've seen to get a toy line nowadays is Bluey, and everyone loves Bluey. For the longest time,
Yeah, because it's good.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's just good.
Inside jokes you would see when animators would gripe about the process is dealing with network people. The biggest example, of course, would be the iconic Poochie episode of The Simpsons.
Hey, this ain't art, it's business.
This is represented in both how focus groups work.
They like itchy, they like scratchy. One kid seems to love the Speedo Man.
And in regards to networks meddling in the design process.
Can we put him in more of a hip-hop context?
Forget context, he's gotta be a surfer. Give me a nice schmear surfer.
I feel we should Rastify him by 10% or so.
This also comes across.
And that is, strangely enough, exactly what Matt Groening's later stuff was. Not Futurama, that was fine. But this other adventure show that he made that kind of flopped.
He made an adventure show?
Enchanted, I think.
Yeah.
Huh.
I can't fully talk on it because I keep forgetting it exists and just forget to watch it. And actually, so that I can have a full-scale love, hate, rant, whatever for it. Because some of these things are redeemable that went into the gutter. But overall, everything that, like the late term Simpsons, where just the zombie Simpsons, they just do exactly this shit.
The Simpsons has no end days. It's still going on. There's no
Yeah, but the Simpsons have been dead since I believe season 8 or something.
Ah, God.
It's just that slop. It's not funny.
I know the original creators are retiring or have retired, and they're giving it over to someone else.
Yeah. There's 10 years ago there was barely anyone left.
Yeah.
This thing the Simpsons today feels much closer to Family Guy.
Okay.
Previously about the development of the Powerpuff Girls, and another story from the showrunner of the Green Lantern animated series, which is a nice little comic showing the frustration of running a show, having to deal with notes from network heads who may not get it, and how all you can do when trapped in that structure is just do the best you can. I think I mentioned before in other videos or maybe on social media that I advocate for creators of all shapes and sizes to go indie if they can. Be it with indie animation studios funded by merch like Glitch or Spindle Horse, or getting funded with Patreon or other such support platforms. I actually think what Glitch and Spindlehorse have done is really phenomenal, considering that they are using places like Netflix and Prime as simple platforms, where they're just using their shows to get more eyeballs and don't have to change anything based on network notes. They're still fully in control. I understand this is not something that can be done overnight, and it's not something that everyone's going to do. It's not going to be for everybody. I don't begrudge anyone for staying in that studio system. Hell, it's been around longer than I have, and it's produced some amazing works. Of course, I understand this is also back when shows were mostly all episodic TV, with no real overarching story of any kind. That is a criticism I do have for creators who want to work in that studio structure. Shows with a serialized story just don't play well in a lot of cases.
That depends. For some it works better, for some it doesn't. And when I was here, I am the edge case, maybe. When I was a kid, it always irked me that there was no developing plot. Like, for example, Freakazoid. It's a comedy, of course. But Freakazoid has, I think, 3 plot episodes. One at the beginning, then I think the second episode, and then it's the finale. And between that, it's just funny filler comedy stuff. You could have done more with it, but they didn't. And that is a disease of the time. While anime had both at all times. They had this episodic stuff, and they had the plot development stuff, also for children's TV. Why did the US not want to do that?
Well, it's more of a style of comedy that they wanted to do for the, like a comedian making up jokes. Like, they just make jokes, and they try to figure that around a plot thread. Whereas if you had to do that for a continuous story, like a main plot or an overarching plot, you're already setting yourself up to keep thinking that way. So let's say, I don't know, Animaniacs, the 3 kids go on a journey across, like, around the perimeter of America or something like that. They would have to make jokes for each state. Like, that might be a little more freeing, a little more independent to talk about that. So they can jump around and change their topics.
And in the US, you had Avatar: The Last Airbender as the big example of you have a progressing story and you still had jokes. It still was funny and it fit. They knew what they were doing. But you need to be competent for that. For this episodic stuff, you don't need to be that competent. You just need to do some slapstick nonsense.
Yeah, it's
you write the stuff on the basis of and then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
which is great when you do Looney Tunes. Which when you do it well, then you get amazing Looney Tunes out of it.
Yeah, it's like the idea behind Seinfeld was just, can we make people laugh with our characters, and that's it. And they just kept doing that for 9 years or whatever it was. So that's how they do it the same way with animation, is just that they have to make themselves laugh in the writer's room. And then the animators go, can we have fun with that? Can we draw that out properly? Does it work as a joke by itself? Then we can draw it, make it even funnier. Is it visual humor? Is it timed? Because a lot of those jokes, like Freakazoid, especially even in Animaniacs, were adult. It was adult humor, and kids. There was the base joke that the kids got because Dot is doing something or Wacko is doing something, and then there's like the reference where the kids don't get it, but it's still funny. So that's difficult.
So that the juveniles and the parents can watch it with their children without being cringed to death.
Yeah, the other example I could think of is the Real Ghostbusters, where Straczynski was happy doing that, and he was a good writer, so the stories had a plot and whatever. But then he put in jokes for Egon to say that no one got, except if you knew what the hell he said. And it's really sexual or really violent or really crazy, and you're like, oh my God. So no one knew what the hell.
Which works perfect for that character.
Which is hilarious, because if you're watching the show and you're like, what did Egon just say? And then you rewind it, you watch it again, you're like, let me write that down and go get a dictionary at the time.
Yeah, and when you're just like 6 or 8 years old and you watch it, which is a scary cartoon for 6-year-olds. Some episodes, like the giant eyeball monster that's as big as a city that walks across there. That is super gross evil, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Well,
I think that's even 2 episodes.
That was him being
on the roller coaster. That was a really scary episode when the roller coaster comes to life and the house on top of the roller coaster becomes the head and like tries to eat you, but it doesn't become a mouth. It's just this house with this gaping entrance.
Yeah, that's
which is way more creepy than if it had the maw and teeth.
And that's the first season of the show. The second season was very different, and he was trying to explain how the network got in control. The animators, they changed the animation team, and all this stuff happened, but he had to keep writing for it. It was very difficult as a result. So he had to share the writer's room with someone else, and he couldn't do as much stuff as he wanted.
So great. We have this so often that a thing is successful, and then the CEOs, the boardroom, comes in and says, "Hey, this awesome thing that makes us this much money, you need to change it so it makes us more." It crashed now. You're a loser.
It is funny because he did write for He-Man. He did write. I don't think he did She-Ra, but he also wrote for Captain Power. And these are all for kids shows, so he knew how to do things. And as soon as the network stepped in, even with Babylon 5, things just blew up, and he had to like clean up after them and make sure the stories were tighter. And it's such a weird experience for him to
I really want to dissect the brains of these studio heads. Like, what is wrong in there? Is it malice? Do they want the things to fail?
Yeah,
or are they just so fucking blind that they don't see that? Oh, it will keep making us money if we don't touch it.
Yeah, let the writers, let the really talented artists do their job, and we just pay their checks and we just make the money. That's all you had to do. So,
can't they be just fans? Because then they would just stand and throw money at him and think, "Oh man, I can't wait to see what he makes next."
Yeah,
that should be the attitude.
It's the same with Gaiman and other geniuses of their genre or medium, that if you just let them do their thing, you guys will make amazing art and you'll make a lot of money.
I'm not sure. Has Gaiman made anything lately?
Well, he came out with the second season of Sandman. I didn't watch it yet.
That doesn't count. That's bullshit. That's not a Gaiman production.
Yeah.
That's he destroying his own legacy.
Yeah, it's him just rewriting his own stuff for some reason.
Yeah, into woke garbage. What I rather want is so if Gaiman made something new, that's the problem with Gaiman. We would already know the story.
We would have his book by now. Yeah, exactly.
No. It would. I don't mean it would be out now. I mean, we would know the story before he writes it. Because he can't write anything else than what he writes.
You mean he can't do anything original, so he borrows from mythology?
No. I mean what we talked about a couple times. He has always the same story beats.
Oh, that. Okay, yeah, no, that's a different thing. He's still making a new story, but he's using the same elements he's always used. Yeah, okay.
And I think he got self-aware of that by
yes.
now. You know he's self-aware.
He was self-aware into the 2000s. Yeah, he was.
And I think that has him wrestle with a mental block of I don't want to make the same thing again, but I don't know how to not make the same thing again. I can see that. I could see that.
I would say that's the same issue with Murakami and his works. And there's the bingo card for Murakami as well. I could go Google search that. But it's always, all his stories are in the same category with the same style, the same events, the same person at the bar, the black cat, the jazz music, the sex in the background with the neighbor. Yeah, there's always those elements. It's funny.
I mean, at least it's not romantasy.
No, it's not that, for sure.
Although Gaiman has written that.
Has he? I haven't read all of his works.
There are some things have scenes, but that fits into the ground.
He does some really good stuff.
Focusing on that.
It's like
in the beginning of American Gods, there are some scenes that fit into that very hard fetish material.
Yeah.
But since it's mixed with mythology and it's just like scenes that set the stage, set the tone, you can argue that. But then he also has short story collections like Fragile Things that are... Two of those in there are just ideological fever dreams.
It's the same thing. I read Trigger Warning. He made that a few years back, and... Yes, 70% are like, okay, they're good, whatever. There's like the 10% were like, why did you do that? And there's like the 2 that are just brilliant. You're like, wow. And they're always like very obscure or very different. And then he'll throw in like American Gods chapter in there for no reason. You're like, why did you do that? Just read the book. Don't put the book in the short story book. Anyway.
Well, you need a reason to sell the short
Yeah,
story
I don't
if
know.
you only have two really outstanding ones.
It's like
and the others are padding.
It's like he did a short story with death, and he would put that in the book for no reason. It's like, why would you do that? It's silly. Anyway.
Talking about how American TV works. I mean, shows with overarching plots can really be hard to show in reruns. Oh, sure, if you're a streaming-only show, it could serve you a bit better, but even in that case, it can still screw you. Like the absolutely tragic case of Inside Job, which was canceled in its second season on a massive cliffhanger that will never be resolved, leaving...
What even is that? I've never heard of
No
this.
idea.
This looks like
horrible.
another Rick and Morty clone.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Fans of the show reminded of that fact every time a clickbait shared of it. But that's the risk when you create anything that's serialized. I actually really like the way Japan handles this process. I know, nerd likes Japanese thing, real shocker, but think about it. Most if not all anime that releases each season is based on a manga, which are usually...
That's just JoJo. That's just JoJo.
Not true. No,
I know.
He says manga, but usually the most stuff is based on novels, not manga. So he shows his ignorance here.
It depends.
Okay.
The famous stuff is well, okay. The shonen stuff is always Shonen Jump stuff. So
that is true.
Written and drawn by one person. Then that manga is released chapter by chapter in a weekly magazine. There's not just Shonen Jump. There are a ton of different magazines that publish manga. Some magazines are not even...
Yeah, but they're so small. Like they're maybe they're bigger now, but even comparing it to other magazines like rom-com stuff, it's just they're so tiny.
I do like the idea at their Comic Cons that you have these self-made mangaka who just sit there. They have made their one chapter or their little tiny mini volume of a thing, and they just sit there with their self-made thing that they printed themselves and sell that at the convention to other people and get feedback that way. That I think is a beautiful subculture in this creative spec. And is it anything like that in America?
Yes.
Kinga? Can you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've gone to them. Yeah, no, I've gone to convention. Well, not recently. I've gone to conventions back in the 90s. And they had all these, what are those tables you have in school that just like fold up and they just put them all together? And you just, that's a booth. It's one guy or two people and they're selling their random, you just walk by, you say, how's it going? What do you do? Let me take a gander. You're like, cool, thanks, see you, bye. And I picked up this guy, he had his own art style, and I said, this is very manga-like. He's like, really? Like, yeah, look at the eyes, look at the angle of the face. Like, you're doing a very Asian-inspired look. I was like, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, that's cool, man. And I didn't buy the comic, but it was like one of these things where you're just meeting people, and they're just selling their product. It's just, can I make it buy with these stories? And the art has to jump at you. If they're colored, that's even amazing. They put a lot of money into it because it's very expensive to print. So that's why they're usually black and white. And there's a lot of doujin, but that's, there's always going to be a lot of doujin. But it's mostly people with their own ideas, doing their own style, which is not necessarily manga.
Yeah, it seems like most of that nowadays moved to the crowdfunding platforms.
Yeah, that's right.
At least that's the feeling.
Yeah, well, that's what LitDev is doing. That's what a lot of other amateur comic book writers are doing, or artists are doing, unless they're doing both.
And that is now. And before the higher quality stuff went to Image or Splitter, but that's its own realm in the US. I like to hear that. I didn't know it was actually that well developed over there. What he's probably going at is, are there magazines similar to Shonen Jump? Because
in
I
the
think
West?
that is, because Shonen Jump is itself a test on what could be really good. They have a few series that are these long-running things that keep it going, and then it can put in a new thing from something to just as that carries along as an audience test.
Yeah,
then they get feedback.
Before we had the actual manga you could buy. Like Lone Wolf and Cub was probably one of the first because it was the biggest at the time in the 80s. And in the 90s, we got something called Mix-Zine or Mix-Zine, which was basically a version of the popular stuff in some of Shonen Jump, some of other stuff. So we got like Parasite, we got Sailor Moon, we got the original Dragon Ball, and it was all just, oh, this is, yeah, I wanted to buy this anyway, but you're getting the first or few episodes of that manga in a thick magazine. So that's how it started. And that didn't go for too long because they couldn't get the original, and then they finally did, so that another company published that, so that other company couldn't sell anymore. So
yeah, my question, and where he's going with this probably, is did such a thing exist for young American freelance comic individuals?
That's different. I don't think so. The culture is not the same, no.
But that sounds like a project that somebody should have tried,
well,
or maybe still could.
In the 90s, there was Top Cow, there was Dark Horse Comics. That might have been a Dark Horse comic idea where they will take the independent and say, what are you doing? Okay, can we market this? What is our market and demo for that? So it could have been, but it was nowhere near as diverse as a manga publisher or manga magazine publisher. So maybe nowadays, because manga's huge, that might be a thing in the West. I have not gone to a convention in a long, long time.
Market gap.
They're just regular magazines that just happen to. Those magazines will usually have what some may call a focus group in the form of a survey that readers can send in to express how they feel about each story in the magazine that week.
That's cool.
Which ones they like better. These same surveys are also used for things like character popularity polls, which is why you see a lot of them in shonen series. It used to be when Shonen Jump released a weekly magazine in America, they had that same survey, but not anymore.
Democracy.
Not anymore, since all the individual chapters are just released digitally each week, which still works since they can obviously tell through the app how many people are reading each series and for how long.
I don't find it as trustworthy because you can just bot that to death. And with the actual, when you have the paper version, those cards are limited. That's people you actually know they did read it and they took the effort to send it in. The hurdle, usually it's good to make it easy for a user in order to use a certain option. So use a tool in the software. But here it's better to have a higher hurdle because the slightly higher hurdle makes the opinion submitted more worthwhile.
Anyone could turn around and say that the Japanese system I like so much categorizes all of the stories into boy and girl magazines, and fair enough. But my cop-out to that is that it's more of a cultural thing. If you follow me on Twitter, which I recommend everyone do, I'm always happy to see new fans, I had some interesting conversations with some people about this. Some were clearly brain-rotted and had no interest in having a productive conversation, saying that they feel sorry for Matt's son, saying his behavior makes sense because he was raised by a single mother, or just calling Amphibia gay and moving on. Some who had real arguments, but would always really boil down to making something for everyone means making something for no one. Which is a statement I can't tell you how many times I heard repeated back to me. Thing is...
It's a true statement.
Yes. The same as when you stand for everything, you also stand for nothing.
Yeah, he's sort of been like on a tightrope dancing around a lot of issues here. I've been listening to him and he sounds okay, but if he's going to criticize this concept, I don't know what's going on anymore.
I think he's stuck at the point where he just wants everybody to get along and be happy with each other, and therefore doesn't understand why just can't everybody like everything?
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
Or like the thing I like, or see the thing see things the way I see them.
Why can't we always be nice to each other?
Yeah, why can't the gay bar be next to the mosque?
Oh, that's
necessarily true. Disney and Pixar at its peak were making movies that were looking to appeal to as many people as possible.
Yeah, but that's family stuff. That doesn't mean that it's going to be appealing to everyone.
It's not appealing to everyone. It's appealing to families.
Yeah.
Yeah, and The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, those are specifically girl movies. Pocahontas as well. Hunchback, mostly, I would even say. Rescue Rangers, that's universal to boy leaning. Aladdin is neutral to boy. Lion King is universal. Tarzan is universal. Hercules is probably
Something.
I don't know. It is a
It is
it is a
something.
thing. It may appeal to certain kids, but it doesn't appeal to Greeks. Yes, great. Yeah, so I think he's just showing exactly what I just described here. He thinks these appeal to all the kids when these themselves have leanings.
Possible. There were no boys' movies or girls' movies. These were everyone movies with stories, themes, and
No. Star Wars was an everyone movie.
adventures that everyone could relate to. These were big tentpole movies, but some.
The Little Mermaid?
Yeah, I'd say so.
How do boys relate to the Little Mermaid?
No, that was like a big thing for everyone. It wasn't just.
I remember, because it's the big Disney movie, so everybody watched the big Disney movie. I remember when that came out. But I didn't understand. I watched the show because it was on TV, not because I wanted to watch The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
I watched it because it was in front of The Simpsons.
Oh. I remember coming home from some sort of competition in grade school, and everyone was sitting in the gymnasium watching a movie, and I asked what movie we were watching. It's like The Little Mermaid. I'm like, really? Why are we doing I don't know. It's just one of those movie days. So it worked for kids in general. The same way Charlie and the Chocolate Factory works for kids in general. It's one of those.
Smart. Let's be honest. If kids can watch a movie instead of doing anything else, they usually want to watch the movie.
In my case, no. I mean, there were kids in my class. They were like, I don't want to watch Little Mermaid because they weren't into it. But yeah, they walked away, or they.
And more of those boys or girls?
Definitely the guys. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Actual proof that I'm right.
Well, I mean, that's my personal experience, but I mean, there were plenty of other kids that were also really, really wanted to watch the movie too. So.
With seemingly new standards and how people see media now are mostly just boiled down to princess movies. I've heard people that say that if it's a musical, it's for girls, as if guys don't like show tunes. But
Are you fucking out of your mind? Boys think all the musical numbers in kids' shows and movies are cringe. Absolute cringe. You want to run out of the room.
It's the moment that when it comes on TV, you just take the pillow, you cover your ears, cover your face, and then in a minute or so you ask your parent
Is
or
it
your
over?
is it over?
Yeah, because it's not. You're not taught to think this.
It
It's
drags
just-
you
it-
out.
Yeah, you feel. So the word cringe is overused. That's why we should try to give it more of a definition. It feels embarrassing when it's running, and sometimes you feel even disgusted. That's what that is. So that you like this, okay, then you are the edge case. But please don't project yourself onto everybody else, because the majority of, especially boys, think this stuff is cringe. There may be exceptions, but this is the reason why musical numbers, even the hardcore, cool rock stuff, doesn't work in kids' shows. Kids don't want to see a rock music video in their kids' cartoon. It's when their characters suddenly do this thing with the stage. Unless it is Metalopocalypse, because Metalopocalypse is about a metal band and they do actual music. That is awesome.
The only time the music is appropriate is when something is actually happening, not that the music is main main thing there, but the music is just a background.
All right.
We say Matt's comments more as something coming from personal experience. The genre that Matt worked in for Amphibia, which was pure fantasy epic, is a genre that's enjoyed by both boys and girls. And maybe it's just his personal experience that this should not be split by gender. I admit, and I've said this from the beginning, that Matt did not word the statement well. Could have done a better job. Since I'm being generous, I see Matt as mocking the idea of Disney wanting to appeal to Gen Z males when young males are already the most advertised two groups in most cases in media.
I'm a white
Not anymore.
male, aged 18 to 49. Everyone listens to me, no matter how dumb my suggestions are.
Disney actually tried several times to find a movie that would relate to young males and failed.
I'm sorry, what?
How was the no?
What is the one in the middle? What is that?
I know Luca.
Yeah, that's the one I know.
That is just that's an everyone story. That's
Onward?
not appealing to young boys specifically.
Yeah, the
You
middle
may
one I
not
think
even-
there was a big controversy about.
I can't even imagine a lot of boys who just don't like that movie at all because it's leaning very strange. But the controversy about it was made up. That is actually a good example. But they didn't claim it the woke elements in it in order to make it fail. It's just that they projected their own homoerotic fetish onto the movie.
Yeah.
Which it had not. It didn't have, thankfully. The other two, I have no clue what that. Oh, Strange World. I remember from mentionings. That thing completely failed. But the Onward, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
It must have felt really bad.
Let me Google that. Anyway.
Time, most notably with Lightyear. Matt is a creator who clearly...
Yeah, why did Lightyear fail? The character everybody loved. And so that kids would love today, and that the adults now who have kids loved in their day and would watch it for nostalgia with their kids, if it was good. Man, I wonder.
Clearly writes young males as part of the demo that he's going for because of the various references to anime he makes. His current project, Family Force V, is inspired by Super Sentai shows that has a lot of action that young males are supposedly looking for. His post was poorly worded, but judging by other statements that he's made, it's clear it's just about making good shows. To boil down his statements into hating young boys and not wanting to appeal to them because of some sense of liberal outrage is just stupid. If anything, you're wanting to be outraged.
Wanting to be? No, we are. Because we don't want to see gay stuff put into children's shows. The Chinese are allowed to cut it out, by the way, that Disney wants to appeal to so much. They get to cut out Finn from Star Wars. Oh, you didn't know that, did you? That the Chinese are so racist. Oh, well, you don't care probably. Because we have to deal with all the bad writing here. And this is just so frustrating. You really don't want to see the problem. You can't. Probably you can't. Because you got stuck somewhere. Which is a pity, because you don't seem like a bad person. You seem like somebody who genuinely wants to make things good and nice, but you just can't see where the problem is, where the error is. You just think that everybody who doesn't like what you like is a bad person. At least it comes across like that. That's the problem. You lack empathy. You lack the very thing you believe to have the most.
Twitter we're talking about. People are expressing their thoughts and feelings in short forms all the time, and sometimes they're just not worded the best. And of course, if people were just trying to express their points, this would be a whole different conversation. I might not even be making this video. But to lie about what he said and the intent in his words is not helpful at all, especially when you allow people to make disgusting comments about him and his work.
What is that? Forgetting the fact that you worked in one of the dozen cartoons made for man-children, pedophiles, and women that looked the same. By the way, he never mentioned Big Mouth. Which is surely, I don't know for whom that was made, because they did air it at a time where children could watch it. What did you expect anyway? You guys tried to make everything for women, and an entire demographic abandoned you. Also an entire demographic that didn't even exist. For fuck's sake, action cartoons no longer exist. I don't see much wrong with that. And if Matt Braley's comic, cartoon, whatever he's making, then also fails because he just can't get out of the trope checklist for the ESG money that has dried up anyway, because he's now stuck in that mode of thought. Well, then that's just consequence.
And by saying things like, well, look at what he posted, you should have seen it coming. To not even try to understand what he may be going for shows your bias, and frankly, it's an obvious conclusion to a general.
No. If people can't figure out what he was going for, then maybe he's been bad at conveying that. A good author is also defined by actually getting across what he wants to convey. Sometimes we have these accidental geniuses that make absolutely amazing stuff, but they didn't intend to make that. They wanted to make something else. So they technically failed at what they wanted to do, which makes them bad creators, but accidentally made something brilliant. And our basic example of that is Guy Verhofstadt, with which, like, RoboCop and Starship Troopers are the absolute examples of he wanted to convey a completely different message with those movies, but they're still amazing. the opposite. He wanted to convey the opposite message of what they brought out. It's great.
Yes.
And that's the same with every tweet you write. And a good author should be able to write a short message in the very tiny confines of Twitter that people understand. If he can't do that, how the hell can he write a comic where the characters only talk in these tiny speech bubbles that barely have space for any great text? You don't want to spend pages upon pages of exposition in there. That's shit. You need to be able to write on Twitter if you want to write comics. Doesn't mean you need to, but it's a good training, maybe.
Is dead, and all shows are not worth trying because they don't look like the shows that they used to watch as a kid. Tastes change, trends change, people make different shows. I try to watch a little bit of everything. I was there for Steven Universe and Adventure Time from the start. I eagerly awaited new episodes of Owl House and Amphibia. I constantly sang the praises of Jellystone and Ghosts of Molly McGee, and many, many more. I'm currently catching up on shows like Wild Park and Stu.
Does anyone know what these are?
I have never seen these.
Yeah.
Absolutely no.
Nope.
They look horrible.
They look awful.
And the one on the left seems
Two
at least
shows.
trying, but the one on the right, that just looks like the.
It could be anything.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
it
could be anything.
looks exactly like the Thundercats thingy.
Oh no, that was
the
worse.
mind behind that.
Well, this is a Disney thing, so maybe there's something behind it.
Disney is completely captured by communists. From the very top, we've seen the interviews where they actively say, we want to push communism.
Two shows that I cannot recommend enough. I can't say I like everything. Shows like Loud House don't really grab me. But at
So
least
wait, there's an Owl House and a Loud House. Are there any other houses? Is this the Age of Houses? Ginga?
I hope not.
You're naming all these cartoons that nobody's heard of because they're forgettable. Maybe there is a gem among them, like The Amazing World of Gumball, but I haven't heard of it. It's not coming out, and people like you seem to know all of these, so shouldn't you be capable of distinguishing between the utter cream of the crop and all the slop beneath that? And then tell us, what is this hidden gem in there? Because you're watching all of this slop. If there is such a gem, tell us of it, and it'll be great. But if you just think all of these are
I don't
good,
just see a few pictures online and call it gay because the character designs are too round. You may call me an
no, it's also the colors and what the characters do with each other, which is not just gay but worse.
Beanmouth is just the warning sign.
At this point, yeah, which is kind of sad because it started with a few good shows and it could have been a good art style of the era, but not necessarily good, but one that carries like the decade. Okay, but if everything in that art style is just garbage, then it will just as you said, it just means that anything that comes out in the future that has that art style will be expected to be garbage, which means the Western animation industry needs a new art style when it makes good stuff in the future, which means it will have to spend more money, and it can't use any of these people who came out of these whatever places.
All right, we got 2 super chats from Frog Jupiter. Let me read them out. The physiognomy of the movies are dysgenic. The art of the ad is repulsive. I never saw Luca or the others, but the mere sight of the art makes me puke.
Understandable.
Those are like the 3D Pixar stuff as well. So I don't know. Those were okay.
It's the 3D version of CalArts. That's what Luca was.
It's a Pixar thing. They have their own style every movie. It's kind of different every
yeah,
show.
but that's the 3D version of CalArts in Luca.
Well, the other one I just looked up, it didn't break even. It cost 175 to 200 million, but it made like 140 million at the box office. 140,
at least close.
142 million, yeah. So,
at least close.
Yeah, these are huge, long productions, and I'm glad that animators can get a job and they have good machines and they know what they're doing. But if they're not breaking even, like they could have easily cut down their budget and produced a simpler film or an easier film to make. I don't know. It sounds sad because when you hear about The Incredibles and what they had to do to make their stuff and how long one like 20-second or even a 5-second take took just to get the texture right or the shirt pulling scene right, like it's such a long processing time. And now probably we have better chipsets to do that, but the VRAM was not there. Like we did not have the graphics capability back in the day. Now we can do it faster, but sadly, for projects that no one wants to buy. And the last one is Big Mouth had 11 seasons. Who was funding that? I don't know. Let's find out.
Oh no, that 11? 11 episodes would be too much, but seasons?
It was funded by Netflix, as well as Barbara Corcoran, the Big Mouth Toothbrush, Capitala Group, and CID Capital for the novelty products company Big Mouth Inc. Wait, is that something different? I'm sorry.
They made an entire company just for that.
No. That's a totally different thing. I'm sorry. I was reading the whole output. No. Big Mouth was Netflix, and they told the guys at Big Mouth to take creative risks, so they did whatever they wanted. Yeah.
Creative risks. When you can make 11 seasons of creative risks, that is just pedophilia.
Oh God.
I have no words. 11. How much did that cost? How much money is that? This show didn't. How did this make money? Well, that's the real question. How did these 11 seasons make any money back?
That's not how.
Who actually watched that? What are the runtime numbers?
Yeah, it depends on the advertising if there is any, but usually it's a subscription model, so Netflix will take the cut for whatever the costs are.
It just means they took all the Netflix money and just puked it into Big Mouth.
Some of it, yeah. Anyway, we got a minute left.
As a pejorative, but I love animation, cartoons, and the like. I watch everything and love almost everything.
Really? What?
That's a weird thing to say.
You have no aesthetic standards. You have no quality things at all. But
Yeah.
my God, I'm running out of words.
There's
for fuck's sake.
there's so much manga out there. If you start reading one, you're like, I know how this is going. You jump to episode, I don't know, 94, and you're like, yep, same shit. You're like, I'm not going to touch that. There's no point. So, and it's free. It's online. Just Google manga, whatever, and you'll find all these one. And they're mostly from China. Not to say China or South Korea are bad, but the genre it's kind of like isekai. There's just this one genre, and it's just the same.
I mean, if you've seen the Mononoke series or the movies to it, or the Count of Monte Cristo thing that you recommended to me, or Royal Space Force and Macross as examples of animation, and yes, those are all Japanese examples. And then you are fine with watching all this crap that is not even well written, and there's so much you could watch. There's so many well-written stories, and you waste your time with this because you don't need any neurons to process any of it? Is that the reason? You don't need to think? Because you don't need to think to watch these shows. In order to watch Gundam War in the Pocket, you need to think a bit. In order to watch some of Tale of Galactic Heroes, you need to think. This is necessary here, and I think that's the reason. He has no sense for aesthetics,
well,
no standards, and he just wants simple stories.
You wouldn't put your critical eye and compare manga and anime to stuff like this. There's
not much choice to compare to in the West, is there?
No, but you wouldn't use like those genres or those styles of stories to like, whatever's on the screen right there. Like it just wouldn't work very well.
Look, I'll tell you the following. There are a lot of really good comic series from Splitter, the American publisher, that are all indie comics. There are historical comics there. There are fantasy stories. There are crazy projects from Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky made a comic series in the early 2000s. And it takes the absolute shit out of Disney and Hollywood. It's like, and it's not for children. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
There's some scenes in there where like, okay, next page. I didn't need to see that. There's a Borgias comic that is really well drawn, really detailed. If you want an excuse to have drawn gore and certain scenes I am not going to explain and say, oh, I'm just reading artful comics, buy that. But there's like the whole range of amazing animation that you could base on these quasi-indie comics, these smaller things that are specialized, that have actual endings. They do exist in the United States. It's not just the Marvel DC comic slop. I'm sorry I'm calling it that in advance. But it's not just we rebooted the 500 millionth time in the multiverse. No, America has these things that are similar to manga, that have endings, that are closed stories, and you could make something from them. Shit money at them, and you will have absolutely gorgeous stuff. There is, if you want examples for that, you can go out of your way and try to check out French animation of all bloody things, because nobody bloody knows what the French are doing in their weird little frog language, because they don't translate shit outward, and we rarely do it as well. But there are some really amazing things over there as well that are not coming out, and maybe that is also because the American studios don't want outside contenders coming into their market. But with anime, they can't really reject it anymore, and they have found a way to capitalize on it, despite it being foreign. Maybe that's why anime is just too big. But you could make your own animation industry again. Would cost a ton, but the material is there. It's like the expanded universe stuff in Star Wars. Most people don't know about it, but it's there and it has great stories. Use it. Maybe I should move to the United States and start this shit myself. Fund me!
All right, we got still a minute left.
Liking things.
I'm not an expert, I'm not expecting everyone to do the same, but it's more fashionable to hate, easier to dismiss, more profitable to trash. I really need to be careful there because I am gonna come off as jealous of other channels who have bigger audiences. Trust me, I would rather be broke and working a normal 9 to 5 than have a Nerdrotics audience. But I think...
Really? Are you sure about that?
I was just about to say.
Oh God.
Does he not
understand the other side?
Does he not? Okay. He seems to be a moderate, and all of a sudden he's like, I don't even like these guys. Like, what are you talking about? The people who watch Neurotic are not people you want to talk to? I'm not sure. I'm not saying they're all,
the people that know better?
Well, I'm not saying they're all, good people. Not everyone subscribes to Neurotic is like of the same type, but you can't have a conversation with them? Really? I've seen their comment sections. They're pretty okay. They're pretty detailed. They have their own opinions, but they don't hold back. At least they'll have a conversation.
He's just proving that the people with the bias are the people like him on that side, and they project that bias onto those who don't share their opinions and claim that everybody who doesn't have my opinion is biased.
Well, the other flip side of this is if he did have not the type of audience, but the same numbered or the same amount of audience saying this shtick, what is, I guess, a moderated leftist-leaning viewpoint. I don't know exactly because I was not sure what aisle he's in, and he's not quite clear exactly what aisle he's in, but he likes it all. Therefore, it must be good, which is a strange. Like, I like books. Books are good. All books are good. Why? If you like reading, you're a good. No. It's like I like reading specific books, not all the genre or all this other genre. Give me one or two authors I found.
The first Terry Brooks books are not good. I could not stand continuing to read.
Yeah. I didn't read the first ones either. I read the later ones. But this is strange. This is it's a very, not juvenile take, but it's like you haven't done enough. And you're saying all Western animation is great except for a bit. Like, come on. You have to know better. If you watched a lot of Western animation, maybe not the 80s and 90s, he doesn't seem too old. Okay, fine. But we had some great animation.
No excuse.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. It's called research.
Yeah, there's some really great stuff in the 80s and 90s. And Gem and the Holograms is that's pretty early.
Motherfucker, Batman.
Yeah, 90s. Yeah, no, it's
the one that the one is at the absolute highest echelon of the bar of quality.
I would say in terms of maturity, like mature storylines, Batman's very close. I would say Spider-Man is probably a bit higher. In terms of
I'd say the Batman the animated series, just in the overall, it still ranks pretty high.
Oh yeah, it changed over the years, but yeah, I think consistently the quality of the writing, the sound, the music, the plots, those were all long going and very high. Then we got Batman Beyond, which is a whole other ball game, which is great in its own way.
And then it all culminated in Justice League.
Yeah, mixed bag. Yeah.
It was good for the most part. It started out rough, but
yeah.
Still it kept the bar. It still kept to the high bar.
Yeah, no, there's lots of great animation out there. And if you don't like that style and you want the more, streaming style, whatever Netflix stuff you want to call it, great. But you got to know where you're coming from, because you can't just say Netflix and go, yeah, this is great. Like, no. Quite sure if you have Netflix and you're watching CalArts or whatever, and you've got the world open to you, or at least what the American market is with imports from Japan, you're going to be doing other things. If you like animation, you're going to be watching Japanese anime, you're going to be watching all kinds of foreign films, whatever you can get your hands on, and you're going to be like, ugh, Western animation, give me a break.
Yeah. Oh, anime is dead. Out comes and from the sideline comes Demon Slayer.
Yeah, the most watched movie.
most watched, most read everything ever.
Yeah.
Great. And by the way, chat to Claire, since there were some comments and questions. Sadly, I can't name you all the series of Splitter because the problem with that is that they are on the level of the Franco-Belgian comics, which is they are expensive. They're super high quality. They're hardcover. And they are expensive per volume, like $20-$30 for 30 pages. They are worth every dime, but it's actually stuff that you put in your shelf, and you know your shelf is worth a ton. And currently, I'm collecting the Lone Wolf and Cub Masterworks series, which is the big Lone Wolf and Cub, which is every volume is $30. And there's I think 12 or 13 volumes of those. So anybody who collects Berserk knows that problem. That you don't just buy all of these at once. That's stupid. And the Spawn series collection, which is the White series, which is the full thing. Because that was the last thing Bears recommended to me, and I like Spawn. And that's a great example. Spawn is a great example. It's relatively consistent quality. It's relatively open with episodic stuff while also continuing in its story and character development. And you could make an absolutely amazing show out of that. Maybe in the style of the Max, but higher quality. Or something even beyond that with okay, I only have references for Japanese studios that do over-the-top amazing stuff. At least Gonzo or Madhouse. That would be the lower level I would dare to throw Spawn at. But you have all this stuff. You just need somebody daring to make it and figure out how do you make money on it. Now that everything is digital, now that piracy is so damn easy. And how do you make merchandise? Because that's the thing as well for Japan. The studios make very little money on anime actually airing. They make money on the sales of the BDs, of the discs, and they make money on merchandise. You need to figure out if you make something. Let's assume for some reason you get the license to make the Spawn animation, the ultimate, the best thing that is remembered as Steve Jackson's Lord of the Rings. If you make that, you need to know what merchandise to make with it that people want to buy because it's so amazing. That's how you finance it.
All right.
You won't just make it through advertisement or Netflix subscriptions.
Here we go.
About this, I want to know what you think. If you're a creator, do you write to try to appeal to a specific gender or age? Or do you just try to write what you think is good? Maybe you have a recommendation for a show.
Yeah, but that's the same thing. The difference is the writer is aware of what he's doing, and he's, now I realize I'm targeting this audience, or I'm targeting myself, which is this audience. So it doesn't really make a difference.
You thought was or overly hated, or you just want to say hi. Well, leave a comment.
All right, we're good. Huzzah! Let's continue to this memes. Do we have any memes? We do. All right, good. Let's turn them on. There we go. When the one nerd announced he was making this video, he got his ass whooped in the Twitter for being disingenuous. Uh-oh. I find this mentality is often hypocritical because it only ever comes up when it comes to media that otherwise would have appealed to only mostly a male audience. I mean, the Amphibia creator just praised K-pop Demon Hunters for being a female-led movie that appeals to girls. Yeah, he should have worded that differently, but I know what he's trying to say there. And we got another one. Apparently, shitting on male demographics is cartoons appealing to everyone. Oh.
One thing that I think we didn't touch on too much was that in most of those stories that he even brought up, how they are, all the adventures for everyone, a lot of the times the male leads are incompetent, as Whisp said, in regards to the DuckTales. A lot of the male leads are incompetent, bumbling idiots that have to be bailed out by the female characters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the classic thing is rather that the woman makes some mistake, and because she's naive, as the SJWs are, and as well the good-natured ones, the basically the ones who are just being used, and then the male characters then have to clean that up and save the day and fix everything. But since it's now the naive characters that are writing everything, they're writing it from their perspective. So they are the ones currently messing everything up, and so we have to then fix everything afterwards. Great reality we live in.
All right. These are in response to the initial post from Matt Braley. Big mystery why anime and manga are running a train on Western animation. Very big mystery. Okay. These are all tweets, so... Amphibia is one of those, if we reference cool stuff made by real artists, people will think that about our boring thing, cartoons. Only tangentially related to the original post, but worth pointing out. Oh.
Yeah, that's the last one relating to the tweet.
Can you go back to that chart?
The chart? Yeah,
the Cartoon Network
it's
one?
too detailed. I don't know if you want to spend too much time there.
No. Zoom in there. There's something very specific that it turns into.
You want someone to read out the actual tweet to go with it?
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
All right. I'll take the one from Ratchet Unbound.
Yeah. That chart.
The problem with cartoons appealing to everyone is that it ends up pigeonholing the creative processes, and because of that, leads to nothing but lack of variety and stagnation. There are just things that boys like that girls don't, and vice versa. Cartoon Network used to be that, and then that leads to the progression of their cartoons.
Yeah, but look at what it turns into in the end. It's just these weird shaped cyclops Play-Doh things that's just nothing.
Yeah.
It really is just cartoon brutalism.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even sure what to call that. Yeah.
It's neo-brutalism. Look up neo-brutalism. It is colorful kids brutalism.
Is that the original Thundercats poster? Or
in where? Little further down. Yeah, for boys. I think so. Yeah, that is the original.
I still haven't watched the remake.
And then the other one is the reboot based on that original poster, that same kind of vibe. And then those first two are for boys, and then the other for everyone, which is Thundercats Roar. and then the immediate response, Kill of a Fire.
Yeah. So this is I don't. Where's the Firefox logo at this point in time? I don't know. Wait, where is it?
It is. It's the middle right.
Middle right.
Middle to the right is the current one. I just remembered that this was a thing and just posted it.
So they went from a fox to just their tail. It looks like.
It just a swirl essentially.
Oh no! Female fantasy characters are designed to appeal to female audience, male audience, and whatever the heck that is.
I renamed that to modern audience.
If we're being honest, that which is listed under male audience is also the female audience. They just don't like to admit it because that is what women see themselves as in the romantasy.
Centrists have a long day of having no opinions besides war bad and everyone sucks. What? The main thing people remember from the Onward movie.
I get it.
I never watched it, never heard of it. I don't know what's going on. Disney's new movie, Strange World, features the first ever openly gay teenage character. What? Disney, this is the first openly gay character you've shown in class.
Yeah, literally.
What's this? The Loud House fanfiction longer than the Bible? Oh my god.
14 and a half minutes long. Watch it in your own time.
Okay. His argument summed up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Don't ask. Yeah, this he kind of gives this vibe, but not completely.
Yeah, it's like there's a spark in him that is almost able to see through the veil.
Some media is made for specific audiences, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You made that sound really well.
Anyway, that was yeah, that was an odd. I thought he was going to be totally on the side of, art is made for artists who make their own thing for a certain demo, and that's how it should be. And he kind of massaged his way away from that. And I'm like, oh god, why'd you do that? Oh, we got one more super chat from, again, the Frog Jupiter. Thank you, sir. Valerian and Loreline are good French comics. Yeah, the comics are great.
Are they?
The movie is, I don't know what the hell that thing is.
Well, they crammed I think 2.5 comic plots into one movie and at random, and that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's the same with the why the stupid ascending thing couldn't
Oh
work,
my god.
because they crammed the plot for all 3 movies into the first one because they feared they couldn't make the others.
That was a mess. I remember seeing the trailer going, what the hell is that?
So it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. It would never have been as big as the Matrix, but
no.
I think it could have worked if they had been bold enough to only do the first one as intended.
I think if they did a miniseries, it would have been a lot better.
Probably.
Not as big a budget. They did not need that much money. That was crazy. The amount of money they spent on it. The director was going nuts. All the issues he had. Yeah, no, the story was just a mess. The production was a mess.
Bees! Magical bees!
Anyway, I mean, we can cover this guy again. He's not offensive. He's just kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. That was a different video to cover. Didn't make me think much, unfortunately, but I guess he brought to light some issues with comics that people, or animation that people don't like, that he just does not care for their opinions. And they're out there. They're in the social medias. They like to talk and share their opinions, and he doesn't like that. And welcome to Twitter, man. That's all you do, is argue with people on there.
And the Americans, you know what to do. There are market gaps. You can fill them.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the video, guys. We will talk to you soon. This is post-Halloween for us, as well as the last game of the World Series because the Jays screwed up last night. So have fun, whoever you're cheering for. Take it easy. Keep dry and warm. It's getting colder these days. And we will talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Good night.
Goodbye.
Night.